Hi guys, and welcome back to SwitchUp. Today Glen and I have another one of our favourite lists to make, and that is the most addictive games that we've played on the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, this will be volume 2 of this particular list, so we'll stick a link to volume 1 in the description below. If you don't see one of the games that you find particularly addictive on here, it may well be on that list, or if it's not, please do stick your choices in the comments section below.
Yeah, and as ever, we try to find the games that are maybe a touch more obscure than all the most obvious ones, but like Glen says, stick your choices down below. The first game from me is one that I've very recently reviewed, and it's called Hell is Other Demons. This is a tough as nails action platform game where you have to fight off waves of demons and beat many bosses. In a way, it's almost a boss rush game, but in the same way as Cuphead did, there are those little levels interspersed to break up each major boss fight.
Right, my first pick for this particular list then would be Darkest Dungeon. This is a dungeon crawling game set on a 2D plane in which you have to collect loot and fight enemies on a turn-based system. What I really like about this one and what keeps me going with it is the way that your character's well-being is affected as you go through the dungeons. For example, in one of my recent runs, one of my characters became so affected that he became masochistic and he would refuse to be healed by my healer. It's just quirky little things like this that give the game its character.
My obsession caused this great foulness. Now, like me, you are a part of this place. The Darkest Dungeon.
Lovely. Yeah, Darkest Dungeon has a really nice physical edition, doesn't it, Glen? From Merge Games? Yeah, it looks lovely, that. Lots of nice little extras in the box. The next game is from Ubisoft, and it's Trials Fusion. Now, we didn't get around to reviewing this one, but I've spent a lot of time playing it since. If you're not familiar with the Trials game, you start out as a lowly rider who has no real skill and no access to many of the larger tier races, and you build up yourself and your bike. There's tons to unlock and upgrade here. You do need an online connection to do the unlocks, which is a little bit strange, but as I say, lots of stages which are incredibly addictive.
Good stuff. Right, my next pick then is a game called Vostok Inc. Strangely, I only actually played this one on my Switch because I was waiting for something else to download, and I had this game on there and had for a while and decided to give it a bash and ended up playing it all the way until my Switch's battery ran out about 3 hours later. It's a clicker game in some respects in that you have to wait for money to accumulate, but it's got a shoot 'em up aspect to it too, which just helps to break up that particular gameplay loop. You have to accumulate money and then extract resources from planets whilst defeating enemies at the same time. Hours can pass by before you realise the time.
The next game needs no real introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway. It's My Time at Portia. And if you're familiar with the Harvest Moon or Stardew Valley series, then you're definitely going to know how this one plays out. You inherit a farm, which seems to be a bit of a cliche with these games, and then you become a bit of a town builder, restoring different elements including bus stops and bridges. What I liked about this one was the story of the world that binds the whole thing together and gives it a real purpose.
So hard to see from the moment we arrive. Cornelia, you are one who will survive. When time's been bad, you put smiles on everyone.
Okay, my next game then is a game called Little Dragon's Cafe, which in some respects I guess is a little similar to the one that you just mentioned there, Mark. The basic idea of this one is that you run a cafe with your sibling and your mum. Mum becomes ill and you have to take over and keep things running smoothly. The way that the dragon comes into it is that you have to keep the dragon healthy and get him to grow so that you can use his magical powers to heal your mother later in the game. It will see you collecting items so that you can expand the recipes that you have on offer for your cafe, and again it's just one of those games that before you know it, a whole evening's passed with you playing it.
Nice one. So a cafe with a dragon. Is that Japanese by any chance?
Every day is a struggle and a strife. But don't you agree? With beating hearts, we're still alive. There comes a time when all you have is who you love.
My next game is called Hard West, and it is currently actually on sale as of the Easter weekend. This is an XCOM style top-down turn-based game where you take on the role of a few different characters actually. You start out with a father and son trying to rebuild their mining business. Later on it has a supernatural element to it as well, and the devil plays quite a prominent role in this game. It's a very fun one, and it's got a lot of content on the Nintendo Switch as you've got all the expansion packs as well.
Right, my next pick then is probably one that wouldn't be for everyone, and it's Stern Pinball Arcade. There are a couple of pinball games on the Switch, another of which is Pinball FX3, which is more of a free-to-play model, but this particular one had all of the tables in for one set price. The other difference between this and Pinball FX3 is that these are based on real tables, and the physics of the ball are much more realistic as opposed to the fantastical elements that you find in Pinball FX. I just love pinball games. I find them very addictive. I can stick a table on, and before I know it, a good couple of hours have passed.
Lovely stuff. Okay, my last game is called City of Brass. This was brought to us from some of the developers behind the BioShock series. Don't get the wrong idea, it's nothing like those games. It's a roguelike which is going to put some people off, but it's a very good one. It's a first-person game where you have to enter the city and get through several levels until you reach the final boss. There are tons of unlockable skills which are permanently unlocked throughout the entire game, which is a nice touch. It does have a slightly unusual mechanic where there's a timer for each stage and you have to get to the end before that runs out, but also there are several modifiers so you can change the experience to suit the way that you like to play. It's a very, very fun game, this one. Check out our review if you're not sure.
Lovely stuff. Right, my last one then is Runner 3. Now this is an endless runner game. I love the Runner series. I remember Bit Trip Runner, which I played initially on the Wii. That was a fantastic game. I absolutely loved the style that that one had. Runner 2 was on the Wii U, and of course now we have Runner 3 on the Switch. It doesn't necessarily have to be this one. I love endless runners in general, and again they just have that one more try gameplay loop that keeps you coming back for more.
Okay, so that's it for our addictive games list. Please, as Glenn said, let us know down in the comments what are the games that you're most addicted to. I know there's going to be a few addicted to Cuphead and other classics that have recently released, and we've got the ever addictive Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen coming in only a couple of days. As always, a huge thank you to our patrons who support the channel every single month. If you're interested in doing that, the links are down below.
Yeah, as Mark mentioned at the beginning, we do like to try and keep these lists a little bit more obscure. I'm sure you can find hundreds of lists that tell you to go and play Mario Kart and Splatoon, but if you have any that we've missed, please do stick them down below. Take it easy everyone, and until the next one, happy gaming.
Cheers guys, see ya!